Hey guys, I'm so glad you're here. Not my normal chipper beginning, but this is a serious one that I really want to get into and talk about. I'm going to explain in this one who Pat Tillman was and what the award is supposed to mean and why I feel so strongly, and so many of us feel so strongly about this outrage about Harry potentially receiving this award. I'm going to go into the petition going on and how to sign it. I'm going to go into all of it. This was from a live stream where so many people jumped on and felt so strongly, and we all signed during the live stream, which was amazing. At the time of this recording, it's got about 16,000 signatures on it. I'm sure by the time this goes up, I'm recording this Sunday night. When this goes up on Monday morning, it will have significantly more, I hope. So if you haven't signed, please do consider signing. I will put the link in the comments below. It's just a change.org petition. Do I think this will back him out of the ESPYs? Probably not. But I think it's more about getting eyes on the situation and showing mainstream media what's going on and how awful this situation is. I just feel so strongly. This is more than Meghan wore an ugly dress or acted crazy, or this is more than a lot of the crap that they pull. This to me ranks, and I talk about in the video about what they did to Her Majesty the late Queen and how what they've continued to do to Catherine, Princess of Wales, that kind of stuff. It's awful, and I think we should talk about it. So I talked about it in the live stream. I'm going to play it here for you. It's important that you know, and thank you guys so much for being here. So this is from the live stream in case you missed it. Let's talk Pat Tillman for a second, okay? Because some people may not know who he is. I'd like to draw attention to a true American hero here. I'm going to try not to get emotional when I talk about this because I feel so strongly about this. Pat Tillman was an American football player who left his promising NFL career. He was with the Arizona Cardinals, and he enlisted in the U.S. Army. And he did this after I don't even know if YouTube lets me say it, the attacks had happened in September 2001. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and tragically, he was taken out. And Jay can get into that a little bit, but there's some, you just need to Google the circumstances because it is truly, truly just awful. Okay. Tillman's decision to prioritize his service and his sacrifice over his personal gain, it's made him the symbol of bravery and selflessness. And it's the complete opposite of Harry and Meghan. The Pat Tillman Award for Service is presented annually. Let me change picture. I have another picture. Right. The Pat Tillman Award it's presented annually by the ESPYs, which is the Excellence in Sports Performance Yearly Awards. It was established in 2014, and it's an award that's supposed to honor an individual with a strong connection to sports who also served others in a way that echoes Tillman's legacy of service, his integrity, and his courage. Okay, so that now you know what it is. Let's talk about some of the other recipients, just so you know how outraged I am that they have Harold in this category. In 2014, they honored Josh Sweeney. He's a Paralympic sled hockey player and former Marine who was injured in Afghanistan. In 2015, they gave it to Danielle Green, former Notre Dame basketball player, Army veteran who lost part of her arm in Iraq. 2016, Sergeant Elizabeth Marks, Paralympic swimmer, an Army combat medic who overcame severe injuries. It's just incredible. These people are inspirational. And I just want you to think about that and then think about who they're giving it to now. That brings us to why we're outraged, and we'll get into his mother's response because she has responded in just a second. I do want to call, I wish I had your name. Somebody left this on Twitter and people are sharing it. So nobody has the original author's name, but I want to read this. It says, Pat Tillman abandoned the pursuit of personal wealth to embrace a life of service, whereas Harry abandoned a life of service to pursue personal wealth. That is so beautifully put and so well said. And again, the antithesis of what Pat Tillman was all about. And they're giving this award to him. It truly disgusts me. You can hear in my voice. I feel so strongly about this. I just wanted to talk about it and get into all this with you, which brings us to the change.org, and I will leave a link to this. I left it up on the screenshot here. I'm so sorry it's cut off like this. I had to cut it off like this because it shows my name where I signed it. I don't need that. So anyway, so I cut it off like this. I've signed it, Jay signed it, and but you can see there's the address. I'll put the link again in the comments, but I want you to be able to see it. And then at the time of this recording, we were at 12,766 signatures. Do I think that this will actually change anything in the moment with this SB thing? No, I do not. I don't think anybody's undoing anything. Do I think this is something big for the long term? Yes, because this has caused, it's not just this, but things like this are causing, I think, more people to look into this, more mainstream media to report on this as well they should. And then, of course, his mother has spoken out. So I think that that's great. And we need more eyeballs on this. And I'm, again, disgusted by this whole scenario. Now let's talk about his mom, Pat. So it says, this is, God, what was this? This is New York Post shared this. Mother of slain U.S. hero, Pat Tillman, and her name is Mary. I wanted to mention that her name is Mary. Mother of slain U.S. hero Pat Tillman slams decision to honor Prince Harry with Son's Award. Quote, I am shocked. And it says, okay, and then it goes on to say the mother of U.S. hero, former NFL, we won't read this whole thing, I just wanted you to hear this part. NFL player Pat Tillman slammed ESPN's decision to honor Prince Harry with the award named after her son. Mary Tillman said she was never consulted by the sports network to give that one the Pat Tillman Award, which honors late NFL safety turned, like we talked about, Army Ranger who enlisted after the attacks. I'm shocked as to why they would select such a controversial and divisive individual to receive the award, she told the Daily Mail. And then it said, this is the last part I have, there are recipients that are far more fitting. There are individuals working in the veteran community that are doing tremendous things to assist veterans. And I think that's exactly the point that Jay and I are both making. Why, oh, why would anybody think that this was a good idea after you have a hero like that? Again, I just have to put up this quote. I just think it's so good. Who abandoned the pursuit of personal wealth to embrace a life of service, whereas Harry abandoned his life of service to pursue personal wealth. Why would you pick somebody like that for this situation? It's disgusting, and I feel ill about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, out of all the people they could have chosen, and veterans are, once they get back, they're often overlooked. I mean, I don't want to get too into anything, but like VA healthcare, you hear about that all the time. It's not great. Anecdotally, friends and family I know that are veterans, it's a struggle to have basic needs met after you've, sacrificed, whatever level, serving your country. I mean, just one person that treated a veteran for free, just because the VA wouldn't. They've done that. They've done more than Harry ever has. I mean, and then veterans themselves. I mean, there was plenty of stories I came across. I think maybe even Mother named a few people and other things, but yeah, there was like a food bank going on. I mean, there's so many more people doing more, and
Yes.
we don't know their names. I mean, this would be a chance to know those names,
Yeah.
and to honor those people that are, that are more befitting to this legacy. And I see some people in the chat, they're pointing out, like even Jen showed me this clip. So Pat McAfee, he's also a former, I think he's correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm out of the sports world, but Pat McAfee is also a former NFL player. He's got a pretty well-known podcast, and he's tied to ESPN as well. So even he called out ESPN for this choice. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like as a viewer or any kind of observer, it's like, what are you doing? And I mean, maybe that was something other people were talking about. Like, why is ESPN doing this? And if you recall, ESPN is they're owned by Disney. They're part of the whole Disney conglomerate. And some people were asking, what's the connection? I looked into it a little bit. I mean, there's no direct connection, but there are some odd things that point together. Maybe WME. The thing I found going a little bit further back, well, they hosted Invictus Games in 2016 at the Wide World of Sports. So that's on Disney, Florida Disney property. And I wonder if there's some contractual thing like going on, like they have to kiss his ass to have something brought back. I don't know. It's something, I don't know, something about that doesn't smell right to me. And then I mean, just Disney themselves weren't they caught on camera like chatting up the yeah, they were yeah, they were chatting up the CEO Bob Iger a while back, and then Meghan ended up voicing the documentary.
I can fill that in because not only did they chat up Bob Iger, they skipped out on a military event to go chat up Bob Iger. So it's full circle. They're awful people, and I'm glad more people can see it and we can put our finger on exactly what is awful. It's more than just, hey, look, she's clawing at him, or hey, look, her outfit's awful. That is funny. But this is the example of the truly disgusting things that they do and they continue to do. And I'm glad that it's being talked about and called out. And I'm not ignoring all the super chats. Thank you all. I'm going to go back and thank you all. I want to keep going with this because it's so important to talk about. And please sign that petition. Thank you to everybody who has signed it. It means so much. We signed it. I'm trying to get everybody to sign it. I'm passing around to my family, the Drunk Goose Club. Everybody sign that petition. And I see so many of you talking about Pat Tillman's mom. Yes, I read the quote from her. I feel so strongly for her, and I think it's disgusting, again, that they're doing this. I'm not just talking about Harry and Meghan. They're always disgusting, but I'm talking about the ESPYs and Disney, everybody involved. They're just not thinking or caring, and in my opinion, I can't prove it, but I feel strongly this is a pay-to-play situation, and I feel like that's what they've done. Thank you. I just saw a new donation from Great Uncle Bob. But I feel like in my bones, that's what they've done. They do this paid publicity, just like you're saying, Red Eye, this paid publicity stuff. And they're already in such hot water over this potential alleged destroying evidence. I don't know if it's alleged anymore because the judge straight up said it, but alleged destroying evidence thing. He's trying to get us to look over here. And now I'm so glad people can see through the nonsense and realizing how bad it's backfiring. Something that I just feel so strongly that I want to say here is, just think about, again, I'm going back to Pat Tillman and everything he stood for, and I want to put his picture back on the screen. I just think it's too important not to talk about how wonderful and incredible what he did is. And then you have this guy, talking about Harry. He's just this angry and dim, and he's just constant resentment and ongoing grievances, and his both of their massive self-importance and entitlement, and they're just stuck in the past and acting like an expert on things when they don't know anything. They're not an expert on anything. They're hypocrites and they're arrogant and, just, I feel like that they are, he carries this chip on his shoulder because he hasn't delivered the wealth and promise that he sure thought he'd get all this praise for, that he anticipated it for, whatever he thinks he's doing to my Harry, and it fuels his anger, and then we get this angry prick that we see, and he's awful, and I just don't think his name should even be in the same sentence, let alone book, as Pat Tillman. So I really am disgusted by this whole thing. A lot of people ask me to talk about it. I'm here talking about it. This is truly how I feel. But there's something else I want to talk about that I find interesting about this whole thing. And again, it goes back to the alleged destroying evidence and all of that. And that is, Meghan has disappeared. Yes, we got that stupid 2-second, oh, look, I happened upon Meghan in a park thing that I feel like is completely staged, right? But beyond that, she hides. She goes into hiding when Harry gets himself, and I don't feel sorry for Harry, don't misread me, but when he gets himself into these situations, she hides. Remember, she did this on the Spare tour when it was going so poorly, on the press tour. She does it in these court cases, and so now I believe she will hide. So Stephanie was asking, will I see her? My instinct is to say yes, we will see her grabbing that award at the ESPYs, but the more I'm thinking about it, she does have a tendency to hide when things go bad, and things are going bad, rightly so, for Harry. So I don't know if we'll see her. What do you think?
That does seem to be a pattern. Like
Yeah.
whenever he's thrown under the bus, she just turns her head and is like, "Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Look at me later
Yeah.
when and look how good
Yeah.
I am." But honestly, I had a theory on that. I think that's calculated.
Yeah.
So whenever she finally decides to leave him, that will keep her out of that history, and she can claim whatever she wants to claim, like make him the bad guy and try to come out of it unscathed,
Yeah.
which won't work. I mean, it's going to be Amber Heard 2.0, but probably even more ridiculous.
Poncho, that is great. Everybody look at Poncho's quote. It said, Pat Tillman died for our country. Harry lied to make money. That's exactly it. That's it. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm stuck on this whole thing and I'm outraged and I can feel it from you guys too. So thank you. Let me read some of the comments here because I think you guys are making such good points I want to talk about. Annie P. Pat Tillman is a hero. Harry is a zero. Exactly. That's exactly it. What does that dude bring to the table? It's the same question I asked with Meghan. Why is anybody asking her to speak about anything? Why is anybody giving him an award for anything? Let's see. Don C. Can anyone think of a good number for this atrocity? I don't know if I understand what you mean, but yeah, I just feel sick about this whole thing. My rage has me confused. So let's see. Oh, a lot of people saying you signed already. Thank you. Ava said, I'm beginning to think this award plays into his demand for IPP status and security. When he's kicked out of the US, it's a distraction for what is really going on. That is an interesting point. I think it is. I don't know. There's so many aspects to this. Anything is a way for him to play victim. Anything that's a way to get attention off of what's really going on and him with this destroying evidence thing. I won't let that go. We will be continuing to talk about that. Also, hello. It's my bad for not mentioning it lately, and I'm not taking it lately, but the African parks thing. It's completely disgusting what they've done and continue to ignore. I have the sewer rats in my comments saying it's not his fault. No, it's not directly his fault, but he absolutely is part of the problem if he's not talking about it. And he is on the board and he was made aware. So no, I feel he's very much a part of that. And I feel like it's important that we keep talking about that.